Welcome to this week's episode of the Texas Campfire Podcast with Mrs. Laura Berry. Mrs. Berry's a good friend of mine, a great Texan, a great lady, and an unbelievable hunter as well. Mrs. Berry and her husband Marvin built a successful company in Corpus Christi, a beautiful legacy of people who have served their community. I know for at least 40, maybe 50 years, they have supported the youth of Nueces County, the Nueces County Junior Livestock Show, and both when Mr. Berry was alive and up until now, Mrs. Berry, I believe, has probably been the top buyer at the Nueces County Junior Livestock Show year in and year out for multiple decades. Her philanthropic work doesn't stop with youth. She's done more work with the military than you can imagine. And last I heard, she was up to 25 homes that she had funded through the Military Warriors Support Foundation for wounded veterans who are now living in their home rent-free. Mrs. Berry is such a big spirit, bigger than life. At the age of 80, the people that are so thankful to her for doing all the work for veterans invited her on her 80th birthday party and made her an honorary Special Forces team member as she jumped out of an airplane as a paratrooper, just like the Special Forces, and to the ground they went, where afterwards they enjoyed birthday cake. I just can't tell you how much that moves me as the kind of human being and the kind of spirit that she is. Prior to recording this episode, Mrs. Berry was nervous. She told me, I don't remember as well as I used to. And I said, don't you worry about it. We'll pick through it. Well, at the age of 95, Mrs. Berry could remember more than I could. And she did a beautiful job in this interview. But most importantly, what I'd really like for you to take away from this is not the words that she says, but the meaning that's found in the lines of her face between the words. There's so much history there, so much rich history starting up in the piney woods of East Texas. She's hunted everything from squirrels to great big deer. And to this day, she still hunts. I know up until her late 80s, she was still sitting by herself in a blind with a 300 Weatherby Magnum, which she has now retired, and I believe she's shooting a 26 Nosler because it kicks a little bit less. So please hang with me for this episode. You're going to find out that this is one of the coolest ladies you've ever met in your whole life, and wait till you see some of the deer pictures. She's an iconic hunter, and don't ever forget it, because she is out. She's already found her a buck she wants to hunt this year, and she's on it. So without further ado, please join myself and Mrs. Berry for a visit today.
I'd never killed a deer on open for the season. Never. Because I've been hunting 70-something years.
I was going to ask you if you want to kind of go back to your childhood and kind of talk about where you grew up and how things.
You should talk to me a little while since we've been talking and know where I'm from.
Well, I know that, but the people on that camera don't know.
No, but if they're from East Texas, they will know.
That's true.
That really and truthfully. I was born in Center, Texas. During the Depression, see, I'd heard of the Depression. I didn't even know that Herbert Hoover was the president at that time. I'd always heard Johnson's name, President Johnson.
Right.
And I graduated from high school at Shelbyville High School, but I was born at Center, which Center stole the county seat from Shelbyville in the middle of the night many years ago and carried it to Center. It's in the center of Shelby County. So that's where I grew. When I was born, it was really funny because we only lived like 2 miles out of town. Mm-hmm. And we had one doctor. And the doctor came out, and my mother didn't cooperate very well. It was early in the morning. Mm-hmm. And he went back to town. As soon as he left, it was my daddy and my grandma there, and my mother decided she was going to have me. Well, my daddy delivered me. He tied my umbilical cord, and I have an innie. I don't have an outie. I have a beautiful navel cord, and I'm the only child my father delivered. So I was different from all the rest of the kids. I heard this story all my life.
That is funny.
And I have 3 brothers and 2 sisters. There was my mother and daddy had a family of 4, and when I was 9 years old, they had my second brother. I have the oldest child was a brother.
I see.
And we lost him in a plane accident, and then last year lost my grandson in a helicopter
I heard about that.
accident.
That's terrible.
So they said, "Where are you going Mother's Day?" I said, "I'm going to the hill country to be up where Marvin, my husband, is buried. And my son, Dennis, he died with cancer. And then my grandson, 2 months later, was when he was killed. So the year before last, I had a lot of trauma.
Right.
And that may be why I had to have heart surgery. But I went to Houston. I went to Houston to get my heart surgery.
Oh,
and it was a valve had completely closed down. And in one day, I saw 3 doctors. A friend of my son that lives up there shot pigeons with this doctor. He would come out to my son's place. And so he took care of me, and I mean he took care of me. It would have taken me probably 2 months to get this to happen in Corpus, and I had it to happen in one day. I went to the first doctor, and he is now already, he's not practicing anymore. He has cancer, and he is almost, he had to retire. He's almost gone. And but anyway, he set me up for another doctor, and he found out what it was, and then I met the surgeon, and and all this time I'm getting all these tests made. I missed the one appointment he had open, and I couldn't believe how many people have heart trouble, and they had 2 wheelchairs for a room that must have had 100 people in it. So you had to wait if you were in the parking lot. I wised up after I was up there with no wheelchair and had to wait. Next time I carried my own wheelchair, I went right in.
That was
And
good
I didn't
thinking.
Have to wait, and I had a good report this year. I'm doing great.
Good for you.
Come back in a year. That told me something. Made me real happy.
That is real good. So what is your age now?
95.
95.
I just turned 95 about 3 weeks ago and had the biggest party up at the ranch. I'll tell you, I saw people I hadn't seen in some of them 30 years.
Wow. Well, happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you. It lasted a long time. There was people, contacting me before my birthday, and we had Cotton's Barbecue.
Perfect.
And everybody knows who Cotton's Barbecue is.
Sure.
So I had a lot of people from Houston that came, and some people I did not know who they were because of that problem I had with losing my memory.
Yes, ma'am.
And but it was great. Everybody had a ball, and I told I got a correspondence from the IRS that somebody had stole my identity with them. And I tried to tell them last year somebody was trying to do this, but they had to wait a year, and then all of a sudden, it's hurry up and do this and hurry up and do that. Too late, people.
Right.
They had sent her a PIN number at my address, and the people have never, ever lived in our neighborhood. I've known everybody that lives there. But anyway, we're working on that. But that is really shocking.
What a mess.
To have somebody come in and pretend they're you.
Right. Oh, it's more and more common these days.
There's only one. There's a bunch of Laura Berries. There's an artist that lives in Canada, that's really famous. And
Interesting.
I was glad that it wasn't somebody that was trying to steal my name.
Right.
She already had it.
That's pretty funny. So
Anyway, living in East Texas and growing up there, I'm so glad I was raised in the country. I thought we were the poorest people around. I had to be a grown person and have a few years of married life to realize what a wonderful childhood I had had growing up in East Texas. Of course, my kids always made fun,
sure.
of my heritage up there. But I was proud of them. My mother and daddy worked hard, and they had 6 children, and none of them went to the bin. So I guess they can be proud of.
And you never went hungry.
And no, and we never went hungry. No, that's what I guess I thought we were poor because we had to eat out of our garden. My gosh, I want a garden now so bad.
Right. Wish you could have another one.
Oh man, and to go and buy those little tomatoes at the grocery store is a great joy because they taste like a tomato.
Right.
Like I used to. Somebody asked us, well, what did you use for the insects that came in your garden? I said, well, my dad and mother had 3 deals that they used to keep those insects out. I said it was a little can full of coal oil, and we picked those 3 girls, me and my 2 sisters. I was the baby girl. We went out to that garden, we picked those worms off, and we put them in that coal oil. They don't live through that coal oil.
So you were the pest control.
We were the pest control, yes. And healthy, everything was healthy.
You bet.
And to this day, I will not eat a potato skin, like they mash the potatoes out. I won't eat those because I know what was in that ground underneath those potatoes, and it came out of the chicken house. I'm not dumb.
That's perfect.
It was high in nitrogen, very high in nitrogen.
Right.
And this year I had possums showing up in my yard. And I can remember my daddy getting up with a shotgun and shooting possums that got in the chicken house.
Right.
And this year I have trapped 7 possums and one of the meanest coons you've ever seen in your life. Its hair was this long. I'd never seen it. I didn't recognize it as a coon.
Really?
And my grandson came over, and it was a female. I thought it was a male. It was so big.
Right.
And it had gnawed the metal out of the end and got its head and front 2 legs out of that have-a-heart trap. And it had pulled that trap all over my patio. But that was the meanest coon I ever saw. But he's going to have him mounted because we have never seen a coon like that.
I haven't either. That sounds interesting.
I'd never seen a coon with hair that long on it.
Interesting.
And I guess it was living in a park because there's only houses on one side, and their back of their houses line up to the park. Mm-hmm. So it's my grandson lives across the street from me, and he has 3 little boys, and they're the fishermen that I was telling you about.
You mentioned that.
They're a little bit. They're not big for their age, and the berries are pretty big.
Yeah, right.
And they are little fellas. And I watched that kid's video last night. He was he needed to be in a chair so he could have gotten him some, pushed his feet back. Instead, it's that thing. It was a big old gar, way longer than him, and they love catching those gar.
Oh yeah!
I said, my gosh, they should get some of those. What is it called? They're raised in Colorado, and they really have a lot of play to them.
Oh, the rainbow trout.
Rainbow trout. They will give it. We always got, when my husband was alive, we always stocked the lake. Now the boys do it.
Right.
And You can catch them, but you have to put them back.
And they're sure
So
good.
if you're there, they're put back.
Right.
But I can tell you, they go on the stove when none of us are there.
You're right.
They eat those little
You know it.
Yeah. But anyway, those rainbow trout, those garb, they come clear out of the water, just like a sailfish.
They're fun. Yes.
They really are. Those kids are having a ball. I just love it. And their daddy has learned to make lures. I'm telling you, I said, he's going to make me one like a jitterbug.
Yeah.
Because when Marvin and I fished, I love to fish too.
Oh, yeah.
But I love deer hunting. I guess whitetail deer hunting better than anything.
Oh, I know for sure.
You know for sure.
When do you think when do you remember starting to hunt? As a child, did you ever hunt, or did that come later in life?
I said I'm from East Texas. East Texas wives, when they married, they never got to touch the gun. The gun belonged to the king of the mountain. That was my daddy.
Right.
And my mother, they did all the cooking and everything my mother did. And she never got to shoot that gun. And my daddy's shotgun was loaded and behind the door as you came in our front door. Mm-hmm. And they told us never to touch it. They didn't have to lock it up. We never touched that gun. Mm-hmm. We knew better.
You knew better. That's right. That's right.
That's right.
We were raised a little differently back then.
Absolutely.
Right?
Well, we didn't lock up our guns for our children. They learned to respect guns when they're little fellas.
Sure.
And those little boys next door, my little great grandsons, they're the same way. I mean, their daddy is young, and he has these 3 little boys. His oldest is a girl, and she is horseback riding now, and the boys are fishing. But she goes fishing. She does everything with them if they invite her. But I'm telling you, they're having more fun. I just love it, getting to see those little kids.
That's great. It's good that they live nearby, so you get to see them a lot, too.
It is. They're so sweet. They come over I've always been very active, and it just kills me. I can't even put the garbage out. They come over every Sunday evening and get my garbage. And where I have one little bag, they have 4 or 5 of those after they eat dinner at night. Because there's 4 kids and
right.
2 adults and a grandmother that came and cooked nail guy last night. Oh. And my gosh, it was good. I love nail
It's guy. Good meat. It really is.
It tastes just like young beef to me. Mm-hmm.
It's a lot better than a white-tailed deer.
Oh, man, you better know it. That white-tailed deer has that smell and taste. Mm-hmm. I'm not that fond of white-tailed deer.
Right.
But I love wild hogs. I'll eat
me too.
Hog meat. Man, it's great. Yeah. And it is better. I used to take every A&M course that came in that would come to Corpus Christi. I was over there, and I was on their board at A&M at one time, and I'm still on a board for Texas A&M. My blood is maroon. To tell you the truth, it's not red. When it bleeds,
I believe that.
Maroon. But all 4 of my kids went to school up there.
Right.
And somehow or another, A&M at College Station is more majestic than A&M in Corpus Christi if you live there. I just don't get over it. That school in Corpus is a wonderful school, but I'd say 90% of the children that live in Corpus wants to go to College Station.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm sure I've got granddaughters and grandsons too. They graduated from A&M, but they didn't live in Corpus.
Right.
But we have a wonderful school there.
Yes, it is. No doubt about it. For sure.
Then going back to East Texas, I was the first out of the children. My oldest brother that was killed when he was in his early 30s was a newspaper man. He had 2 different newspapers. And then I had 2 sisters, and they couldn't stand to be away from home, too far away from home, so they went to Beaumont and lived. And I went to Dallas and went to Drum's Business College. I was the first one that left. When I would come home, get on that, I'll never forget it. I had never smoked, and my girlfriend and I was coming home also. That lived on further down the road, and we were in this bus, no air conditioning, windows down, and it would pull that exhaust into that bus.
Right.
And I took one puff of that and made me sick as a dog. I was not a cigarette. I haven't even smoked a cigarette. I took a puff off one, but I didn't like what it did to me. It made me sick. And I used to go places where people smoked, and it'd be real thick in the house of smoke, and I would get ill. I was allergic to the stuff. No wonder it made me sick.
Yeah, I bet.
That's how people say, how did you get to be 95? I said, well, no one in either side of my family ever lived to be a 90. And I had good food to eat. I was raised on good food. And for instance, this year I ate 3 pounds of chocolate candy, and you don't eat 3 pounds of chocolate candy without gaining weight. Didn't put on a pound.
Is that right?
I'm telling you, I loved it, and I didn't even like chocolate. Well,
Right.
I found out I was allergic to chocolate. It's the reason I didn't like chocolate. It gave me severe headaches, but it didn't give me a severe headache this year, so I guess I've gotten over it.
Yeah, you're over it.
Yeah.
That's good.
And last year, when I got that 3 pounds of candy, I gave my neighbor part of it. Well, this year, I didn't give my neighbor any. I ate it all.
Now that you can eat it, you're going to eat it
Now
all.
that I found out that I'm not allergic,
You got a new lease on life.
you better know it. I may get another 5 or 10 years. You can never tell.
That's right. That's right. You don't ever know.
Well, it was interesting. I looked up. I didn't know when the Great Depression was, so I looked it up this morning, and I had no idea that I was born when Herbert Hoover was president. That was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago.
When I was 1 and 2 years old, didn't make any difference.
Nobody knew the difference. That's all there was.
But I do remember, I guess I never knew if my father was a Democrat or Republican. They didn't talk to us about that.
Right.
But I am looking back, my daddy was a Republican. And that was very interesting because I would have thought he would have been a Democrat.
Yeah, back then it was certainly.
Very common.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that it was kind of shocking. But my father, he had a tough life. His mother died when he was a baby with pneumonia, and they were living up in the Arklatex. And his dad put 4 children, and he had this little baby on a bottle, and went back home up in East Texas to his mother's, who still had children at home, and left those 4 kids with her, and to go and work to provide money to help take care of them.
Wow.
And then when he was just a little boy, they gave him to a gentleman, and it happened to be my mother's uncle. And when he met my mother, when she saw my mother when she was a little girl, he told her uncle, "I'm going to marry that girl," and he did. Wow. I thought that was it. She was the prettiest one of the 4 girls. But I've had a lot of interesting things. I did not ever shoot a gun until I met Marvin Berry.
Is that right?
And I said, I'll never marry a man that doesn't dance. I love to dance. And first man I ever met was Marvin Berry, and he didn't dance. And then it didn't make any difference. I fell in the difference. I fell in love with him, and it didn't matter. And he finally told me, I will learn to dance if you want to, but I can walk over 2 or 3 mountains using all that energy. I said, that's okay, I'll join you.
We're going to do it.
Yeah, and if you can't whip them, join them.
That's right.
I've had more fun in my life than anybody could. And I never smoked, I never drank, I never cavorted around. And I had one husband, and we were married 45 years, and had 4 children, and didn't have a girl, all boys. And so my life has been very interesting, because when the boys started growing up, their idea of having a good time was being able to outshoot mother, and it took them many years. Some of them probably have never shot. Well, I know I don't know which ones. I know Marty shot bigger deer than me, but he got those in Mexico.
Right.
He's killed some of the biggest deer over there I've ever seen.
Yes.
They've got spreads so big.
They're beautiful deer down there. Yeah.
And I want to tell you a story about Marty. He had this deer that he started out breeding his doe to, and he called up the ranch, said, "Mom, have y'all seen my pet?" And I said, "Yeah, he's right out here, right in front of us, laying down beside the doe." He said, "Has he lost his horns yet?" And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "He's going to lose his horns today." And I bet you he's one of the few people that know they lose their horns on the same day every year. Did you know that?
I've heard Marty say that, yes.
Okay, Marvin and I go home. Marty goes up to the ranch. We met him on 624, Highway 624. And when he got up there, he was only parked there for a little while. And he called me and said, "Mom, guess what? Huncho lost his horns."
Is that right?
One fell off, and the other one, he took his paw and hit it,
Right.
knocked it off.
Interesting.
But isn't that interesting?
Very, very much so. You know, it's funny, you talked about having 4 boys. My wife and I have 2 boys, no girls. And when the boys were little, Stephanie started realizing that the boys wanted to go do things with me. And I said, "Honey," I said, "I'm sorry that you never had a girl, but I said, you're a boy mom, and if you want to spend time with your boys, you're going to have to do boy stuff." And sure enough, you know, she was raised in the city and not an outdoors person. But I'll tell you, she started fishing and hunting and we had the greatest times together.
I love fishing also.
I do too.
I just love it.
Look, we still wish we had a daughter, but I'll tell you, she got used to being a boy mom and had a great time with it.
God knew what he was doing with me. He really did, because I learned to do everything. I really did it. I went to West Texas and went mule deer hunting. I had the time of my life, because we always carried our Jeeps and we'd carry a motorhome. And I think the boys had to be 9 before they could go. By the time that I got to the 4th one, he was going probably when he was 6. But that's what happens.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But anyway, out there, you just, a mountain was never too rough that Marvin Berry wouldn't try to go up it. And we normally went up them.
Right.
And I found some of the prettiest cactus out there you ever saw in your life. Going up those mountains that the people that owned the place didn't think you could go up them. We did. And I was right beside him.
That is so great.
I wouldn't do anything, and I just sure, I would like to have had a girl, but I got 4 beautiful daughter-in-laws. And I have the cutest little grandchildren you ever saw in your life.
I know it. I know you do.
And now I've got great-grandchildren. I have 20 great-grandchildren.
Wow. That's a bunch.
So when I lost my memory last year from that medicine they gave me, I didn't know a grandchild I had or a great-grandchild. Didn't know anybody. I knew me. That was pleasing that I knew myself,
Right.
but that was the only person I knew.
And all that has come back to you now?
Not all. No, I had people at my birthday party that I grew up with. I didn't know them.
Oh, wow.
And if I get to think about it, it will come back, and I don't forget it then.
Right.
Once I get it and get
You
it,
have to reintroduce it in your mind.
It's still there, and I know that it is.
Right.
And I'm looking forward to keep growing.
Yes,
in my mind,
you will, for sure.
and I think I will.
Yeah, I think so too.
If I get excited, if I get excited, I can't remember nothing.
I think we're all that way.
And everybody said, don't think a thing about that. I'm the same way. I said, yeah, but I have an excuse for losing mine. You're getting old is what's happening to you. I said, I'm still 13.
That is great. Well, that is so neat that your best memories with Mr. Berry are from outdoors and hunting and whatnot.
Oh,
that is just fantastic.
We had so much fun together, and he would never go any place he couldn't carry me and the children. That was what was really neat, and it's funny because seatbelts tickle me. We had Cantwell's to make contoured mattresses for the back of our. They weren't called Suburbans then, but they were made like a Suburban.
Right.
And we had 3 on where the single seat was behind the driver. A small mattress that fit that contour, then a double one over here, and then across the back one that fit all the way across the back. And then we had a friend of ours that we hunted with, and he made. They were. You had all this chrome on top of your car that we had a zip case. It was like a square, 3 sides. They get zipped down from the front and came by and hid in the back, and then you snapped a snap so it wouldn't be coming undone. And that was another funny story we had.
Right.
I had diapers. I had a baby at the time and a dog with 5 puppies, and we had a flat, and we had stopped, and somehow or another we didn't zip that thing up. And we looked like big snowflakes coming out. Those diapers were coming out of the back. We didn't have Pampers and all that stuff then. These were diapers washed and folded and put in a little kit. But that wind had caught them, and they were just coming out. We had spread diapers all across the road.
Gosh.
No way that anybody would have known I had a child in there. I guarantee you. And one Christmas, coming from the ranch, we'd been hunting. And, oh, by the way, every one of my boys shot their first deer with me, not their dad.
Really?
Yes.
That is awesome.
It really is, because I would be so excited. And I had carried, it was Marty. I carried Marty with me on the first flight up to our ranch. And we had gone and got in blind number 8. I still remember it just like it was yesterday. And the year before, I had got him in a blind, and this buck came in, and he was so tiny, he couldn't reach, and stand up and get on the deer. So I got him on my knees, and I'd try to stand up on my toes, and my legs would shake. One, because I was nervous. It just put my legs in it. And so I whistled, the deer stopped, and then he went on. And he turns around and said, "You scared my deer off." And I was doing everything in the world to get him a shot. And the oldest boy, he was 6. Marty would have been 5 if I could have gotten him up there high enough up to get his shot, because they could all shoot. I've got twin girls right now, granddaughters in Houston. And those little boogers you talk about shooting, I carried them 2 years ago hunting, and they are shooters. They're not hunters yet, but they are shooters.
That's how it starts.
And there's a difference. They're becoming hunters real fast this year. I could not believe the difference in those girls. And I mean, they shoot everything. And I was telling Marty coming out here, they had raised some wild hogs up in Houston. And they got a ranch. I think it belonged to Steve Falston, and it had been in his family till my son bought it. And these two, they're not afraid of anything. I cannot believe it. And I said, if y'all let those, I gave them some cattle. Those cows are beef masters, and they are very possessive of the calves. And here's these two little old bitty girls out there pulling this calf out of this brush. I said, if y'all let one of those cows hurt one of those kids, I'm going to kill you. Because but so far, so good. I couldn't believe it. Anyway, they sent me a video this week, and they had raised this feral hog, a female, from the baby. And it was up there 2 or 3 years, and they let her out. Well, she showed up. They were driving around, and there's that hog out there with a litter of shoats, and they were fat as but looked like little butterballs.
Right.
And they stopped and killed the engine on the vehicle. And those two girls got out there and started calling her by her name, and she's over there, you know. She was really talking to them.
Right.
And they said, you don't play bashful with us. They were there just talking to her. You come up here and see us. Well, she came right up there, them putting their hands out. Well, I've had those boars to try to bite you, and they could bite a mesquite limb in two.
You bet.
And I respect all animals. They are wild animals. I do not trust I don't even trust a horse.
No.
They're a wild animal too.
Yep, that's a fact.
But anyhow, that hog came right up there and talked to them. And then she walked off, and I told Marty, I said, I bet that hog weighed 300 pounds. She was just a butterball, but she still remembered those kids.
That's neat. That's neat.
But I would be afraid to even get out.
Especially with babies around. You never know what they're going to do.
But they were already shoats.
Right.
And fat. Yeah, all of them were fat. I ended up this year, we had no rain. I planted sorghum alum, which I always plant because they can take distress better than any hay that I found. And we didn't get to put up one bale. It rained enough to get the seed up, and then they just died for lack of water, except for the one I had to sell before when there was a drought. And I put in a system on some of the land at San Patricio.
Oh, at San Pat.
But those clouds will be coming right to us, and then they'll split. We're going to get rain one of these days.
I hope it's soon.
I do too. I'm telling you, it's terrible because I had the prettiest head of beef pasture you ever saw. And one thing that Marvin and I did when we bought the ranch up in the hill country, no one shot a deer bigger than an 8-pointer and little antlers like this, because everyone shot everything they saw.
Sure.
They didn't know what looking after anything was. And the old judge over at Lakey, he was a dictator, and he would not let anyone shoot doe. Well, there was so many deer on that ranch we bought, and they were skin and bones. I'll never forget it. It was just horrible. And when he died, our ranch came into the state of Texas, and we had to abide by all rules, and they let us shoot doe. We took out a whole lot of doe, and started letting our bucks grow up, but still they'll never reach what they do down here in South Texas.
Right. It's just,
But I killed a beautiful buck. He's in the lodge up there right today. I was at my brother, Marvin's brother had a ranch on past us, and I was over there one day, and I'd taken this kid from Houston out to just see what we could see, and it was noon, and this biggest old buck you ever saw. He knew when everybody ate, so he got his water at the water hole when everybody was up there at the lodge eating.
of course.
But I just happened to hit him at the front. And my brother-in-law had shot at that deer I don't know how many times. I'd always been in deer blind. That's the way I learned, and I shoot one shot. Mm-hmm. I get to brag about that.
Sure you do.
Because I said, you can see all the deer in the world, but you've got to be able to shoot them. Mm-hmm. Well, this kid was not a hunter, but he enjoyed going out and seeing the game and seeing people bring in the deer and all. That deer came running across the only open field there. It could have gone and gotten the brush closer. I don't know why he ran that way. And he stopped, and I shot at him. I missed that one. I'm standing up, offhand, shooting just like this. He took off running, and he's running 35 miles an hour at least. And I thought, okay, I heard, get here, pass him by, and squeeze his trigger. I did that and killed that deer. I could not believe it. And we had to go to the house to get somebody to help us, because this was just a kid that was with me. Mm-hmm. And I had somebody that had seen me do it. That was even better. And when Marvin came out there, and I am really good at spotting. I very seldom lose a dove. It just kills me if I lose any animal. I can't stand it. I'll be out there still searching for him. Mm-hmm. But anyhow, we went out there. It's the only deer or one of the few deer I've ever killed that grew as you approached him. That's why he has rights in the lodge up in the hill country.
That's great. Mm. When did you start shooting pigeons? You got pretty active shooting pigeons, didn't you?
I didn't start shooting pigeons until after Marvin died. He had his idea about pigeon shooters, and I had mine. and I thought, there's nothing to that. You just got to shoot the bird. And I started shooting pigeons, and we started going to Mexico to those pigeon shoots, and I really got good. I got real good. And I beat some of the, I think there was 4 at, where does Lawrence go hunting? Guadalajara.
Okay.
And when I was going, I had a whole group of people that followed me around. They applauded. They made my pictures. And it embarrassed me to start with. And then as I'm going around and they're following me, it got funny to me. I thought, now the people back home would not believe this.
No way.
and here are these people. And every time I'd go over there, they would do that. I had my own group that just loved me to come in and shoot over there.
Yeah.
Especially the old Mexican men. They were part of that group also. And I shot better. One day over there, I shot better than anybody that went with us. It was just my time.
Right.
That's all I can say. When I got that first bird, the way I felt, I'm going to kill every one of these. I had just read in some magazine that if you use the same gun, which I use the same gun to shoot. Mm-hmm. And I can't even lift that 12 gauge now. It's too heavy. I'm going to start, I think, shooting a 28. I've got the 28 and I got a 20, but I don't think I want a 20. I want to shoot with a 28.
Right. I really love a 28 gauge. It's a good little shotgun.
Yeah.
So I have to ask you now, maybe you don't remember, but how old were you when you were still shooting that 12 gauge at pigeon shoots?
Oh, about 5 years ago.
Is that right?
Oh, yes.
Wow.
Yes. I think in 2019, I went to Guadalajara and shot the last time.
Competitively.
Yes.
Golly, that's amazing.
It is, and I really don't know why. I started shooting for Special Forces. One of the King Ranch heirs had come down and visited with me, and he was starting a group of shooters, and it was to make money to help the people that had been wounded and weren't getting the help they should have gotten from our government. And so he had gone to Houston and talked to a friend of mine and wanted them to get a team together. And he said, I'm too busy, but I know somebody that will work her heart out to make money if it's for the military. I don't know how he knew that, but anyway, that's what he told him. So I had lunch with him, and he said it was just his mother had the man from the King Ranch, and I'll think of his name and see. I have one of those moments.
Is it Leroy Cisco?
Huh?
Not Leroy Cisco?
No,
No? Okay.
I'll think of it after a while.
Okay.
But anyway, it was funny because Cotton's Barbecue had burned in Robertstown. And I said, do you want to go and have seafood or do you want Cotton's Barbecue? And man, he says, I thought it burned down. I said, the one in Robertstown, but his son has one on 624. And he said, Cotton's Barbecue. And we sat out there talking for about 2 hours. And he said, this has been just like spending time with my mother.
Wow.
And so I got a group of ladies, and we went to that shoot. It was up near Dallas. Our company sponsored this little girl that shot. And my grandson Mason had come and said, Mama, this little girl is really good. If you can help her, do it because she can become an Olympian shooter. She's one of the best shooters in the United States of America, and I guarantee you, the lady from California that's every year shoots for us, I met her when I went out there shooting for Special Forces. She was good. We came in second in collections, but guess it? The man who produced it came in first because he always looked at to see what everybody had because he had the computer and he had all the information. Nobody else got that privilege. I won 2 pickups, 2 years, and I guarantee you I won many more than that. I kept the first one I got. I still have it. I don't drive it. I save it. I drove it in the parade 3 years ago because I was parade chief. And I used my pickup that was decorated with red, white, and blue stuff.
Nice.
And this was this year. I was down there and watched that parade. I don't know who there. I was just lucky the year that I was the chief. But I thought they had too many people to wait. But that parade has gotten so big.
Oh, yeah.
It lasted so long. I got out of it. We used a bait down there and used their second floor, but it's just high enough off the street, the way it's cut into the wall of the dirt for the building, that it was just a perfect place to be for the parade.
Nice.
Well, we're down there and we can't get up because they still have the streets closed and are going to keep them closed till they can come and sweep them. And finally, the man that was driving had come and picked me up and carried me down to see the parade. went out and said, see, we have two fundraisers at our ranch every year for the police department and up at our ranch. And so they all know me. And he went out there and he introduced himself to this man. And he said, I hate to ask you this, but I have Miss Berry in there and I need to get her, Laura Berry, he called it, he knew my name. And he said, I need to get her home. Why hadn't you come out here and told me? And so we stopped and he introduced me to this policeman because the policeman knew by as many things as we've had up at the ranch for them.
Sure.
And they have a facility that Mr. Gonzalez gave the police department, this great big metal building. It was in bad shape. It is now one of the most beautiful gyms you've ever seen for underprivileged children to come, and they can play basketball, volleyball, and they're setting up places for baseball.
Great.
And it is just wonderful. It is wonderful. And that's one of them. And it is one of the biggest fundraisers in Corpus every year up at the ranch for those kiddos.
That's fantastic.
And this man knew me. I didn't know him. So we stopped and my friend introduced us.
That's good. So when you had your pigeon shooting team and you were raising money for the military, basically
we were shooting the pigeons.
Right.
Yeah.
What?
No, clay pigeons. We were shooting clay pigeons.
Oh, it was clay pigeons. It
Yeah.
wasn't pigeons.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how much money do you think was raised in that process for I guess wounded warriors? Is that right?
Yeah. No, it was for special forces.
Oh, special forces. Okay.
Yes. But do you know, even I when I got to where I couldn't lift my gun, I stopped working for them and started helping Military Warriors Support Foundation that's in San Antonio.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm very good. And you probably know, do you know General Cisco?
Yes, I do.
He's one of my best friends. And you know, the man that helped him had his stroke. And it's very sad. I mean, I still associate it with the fact a lot of people I know that got those shots for COVID had strokes, and it killed two lady friends. Well, I knew their nephew from Jasper. The first shot didn't hurt him. The second shot killed him.
I've heard a lot of stories.
And that happened to a lot of people,
Yes, ma'am.
and they kept it quiet.
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
I never got one. I never took one.
Nobody in my family did either. We all agreed up front that we weren't going to do that.
No. They didn't have time to even check to see what
No,
to run a test or nothing.
there's no way. That's exactly right.
Shoot. That was so sad.
Yes, ma'am, I agree. Still is. It's terrible.
But I thought Leroy, when they had that Buccaneer thing the other night, you know, I am a queen now.
Yes.
My son is a king.
I know.
I'm a queen. And when we went for that parade, Al Ray Huseman, I don't know if you know Van Huseman, he's an attorney, and she is too, but she hadn't been an attorney in a long time. But anyway, Al Ray had invited me down for that parade, and she had me a tiara. I thought that was so sweet of her. She had made sandwiches. She had cheese dip. She did a lot to help us.
Did a good job. That's good. That's great. So I guess you still hunt over at McMullen quite a bit, don't you?
Yes. Well, year before last, I had a hunt that was at least 30 minutes long. Never had such a short hunt in my life. Marty said, "Mother, I have this deer. I don't know if you'll be interested, but he is different." I said, "Well, I've already told him over a Muy Grande, I'm shooting unique deer. And the last article written about me in their magazine was about this unique deer that I killed. And so he said, I said, when it gets cold, I'll come. That was 3 years ago, I think. And so it was Saturday, and he had been working it all night long up there at the ranch, and he called me early that morning, and he said, "Do you want to hunt today?" Asking me if I want to hunt.
That's a dumb.
I said, "When will you be here?" He said, "Just as soon as I can drive there." I said, "Okay, I'll be ready." And I carried my gun, but he wouldn't let me use his gun. I had to use his gun.
Right.
Because his gun is shot in much better than mine. Mine may be in the back of the car bumping,
Right.
But anyhow, it was this was really funny. We got up there and it was around 9:30 or 10. So we went to the closest blind to the house because we could get in more hunting. And the deer they had seen was on the other side of the ranch, about probably 30-minute drive. And so we got in this blind. We hadn't been there 5 minutes, and this doe comes running out of the brush. The man had turned a feeder on and threw out some corn, and then he left. And here comes this great big old buck. And he said, "I can't believe this. There's a buck." He had chased this doe clear across the ranch. So, man, I had that gun up it, and he didn't understand. I hadn't had time to get my binoculars out of my case. That's how fast this happened.
Right.
And I had that gun up in the window, and he thought I was fixing to shoot the deer when it's across the lake from us. Well, it came around, and it was chasing her. She came around, came right by the blind, and stopped with a group of other deer that had already arrived. And when that buck came and stopped, "Can I shoot him now?" "No." And, "Can I shoot him now?" "No." He said, "I saw your gun barrel shaking." I said, "You see that dead deer hit the ground?" He didn't even kick. He didn't kick a time. Then another buck came and started butting him. And he's dead. I mean, yeah, you would come here when he's dead and try to fight him,
Get tough now.
Yeah. But that was the shortest deer hunt I've ever had.
Sounds like a good one to me.
But it was a good one. It sure was. And I called down there to Muy Grande and Kenneth answered the phone. And what'd you get? I said, "I got another good one." And he's got to where he thinks all I got to do is just drive out there. He doesn't understand how big those ranches are. They don't understand. It's not like hunting 15 acres, 100 acres, or 1,000 acres. There's lots of acres and without any cross fences inside.
That's hunting.
I'm hunting.
That's right.
That's right.
I wonder, I would have to go back and look. I wonder how many bucks you've carried over to Muy Grande over the years.
I want to go over there and look in their books that they had printed up and pull pictures that I probably have of them. And deer, in the last 15 or 20 years, I have really killed some great bucks.
Oh, I know.
I mean, I'm the luckiest girl in the world. and I, when I first started hunting and a buck would come out, I'd say the Lord's Prayer first, and I'd still be shaking. So then I'd say, 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this nation. And I'd say the Great Gettysburg Address.
Right.
And I'd reach down and get that. As long as I wouldn't shake. And we were in West Texas hunting and with friends of ours from Colorado. And this was a funny couple. He always shot the deer. his wife never got, and we shamed him into letting her shoot a deer.
Good for you.
And so we were out there, and it was my time to shoot a deer. And it was really funny. Here is 4 people that's in a Jeep, 2 in the front, 2 in the back. And you look up on the mountain, every one of us saw a different deer. You know, we're pointing out, but it is funny. I did end up shooting the biggest buck that was there, and he came rolling down the side of that mountain and stopped about less than 100 yards from us. But he was not dead, but he was too shot up to shoot him again. And we got some great pictures there with him. But once she started hunting, she became an authority. You would have thought she had shot all of her life. I mean, she knew more about deer hunting. She never killed the deer I did. I knew a little bit more, but I kept my mouth shut. My husband, I was the only one that would ever get turkey up in the hill country. Well, I was smart enough. I drove the Jeep out. I break me off a piece of cedar limb, and if there was any sand, I would take all the tracks out. And then I would go back to the lodge, and I'd stay an hour or so and go back. Turkeys are creatures of habit. They're going to go the same way every day if they don't get intruded. And I was the only person, and I told my husband that. Then at the dinner table, he just couldn't stand it. He had to brag about how smart his wife was and told all my secrets. They are up there. The ladies would carry Romance magazine. My romance was killing a good deer.
Right.
Yeah, I was much more popular than them because I got the best deer every year. I would kill the better deer. Because
I believe it.
I was a better hunter. I learned everything they knew plus stuff. But I told Marvin, I'm not going to tell you anything else I learned. And I didn't. Because if I go out there and work at it, I will help a child. And I've carried many children out to get their first deer. And it's just like shooting it myself.
Oh.
I am so excited. And this doctor that had... I have plastic surgery here. I got burned real badly and had 3rd-degree burns. And they did a Z here and opened my thumb and finger back up. I was concerned. That's my trigger finger. I'm right-handed.
What's that? Can't have that.
So, no matter where I hunted, I was lucky a lot of times, but I was a good hunter.
The two have to come together, right?
That's right. And I started out shooting a 30-06, and I was out in West Texas, and I saw how far those 300 Weatherbies would shoot. We were on Deer Mountain, and the deer were across on it was a long valley, and then the deer was not. They didn't know the name of that mountain. It was Deer Mountain we were on, and they were over on the next mountain, and I shot 3 shots with my 30-06. My Lord, they're shooting way down there under them. And I said, I want to shoot your gun, Marvin. And I got him, and I was still shooting above him.
With that 300 Weatherby.
I was lobbing, and I killed that deer, shot him right in the heart. And my nephew was hunting with Marvin and I, and he said, Aunt Laura, if that deer is shot in the heart, he walked. We had to drive around Deer Mountain and go in that way, and it took us lots longer. He said, if that deer is shot in the heart, I'm going to shoot him right in the butt. And I said, you better not. And I had shot him right in the heart.
That's amazing.
We got over there, and that's when I said, I've got to have a 300 Weatherby. And from that day forward, I shot a 300. And all of these people, we brought military people up and let them shoot turkey. They called them up, and they shot them with a bow and arrow.
Wow.
And the first year, every one of them got one.
That's
We
impressive.
had a lot of turkey that year. But anyway, I shot my first one turkey with a 22 with a hollow point bullets. And they was telling me, you can't kill a turkey with that. I said, well, just as long as I know it and the turkey knows it, we're doing good together.
If I remember correctly, I think you shot that 300 Weatherby Magnum until not too long ago, right?
Oh, I did. Yeah, I did. If I'm not shooting at Marty's, I shoot it now.
So you're in your late 80s and you're still shooting a 12 gauge and a 300 Weatherby
Yes,
Magnum.
yes, sure am.
That's pretty tough.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know Mr. Berry. I think he died about the same time as my father. But I would say in your age group, for a man to spend that much time hunting with his wife was pretty uncommon and pretty awesome.
Well, he figured I'd given up everything that I like to do, and I just went with him. I'm me, and what you see is what you get. But there's loyalty too, and family is the one thing that we all need when you get older. God, I don't know what I'd done when Marvin died without my family.
Oh, man. So you were mentioning how small the bucks were when y'all first bought the ranch up at Flying Bull. I've talked to Marty about it before. McMullen was kind of the same way. He said there wasn't a 10-pointer on the whole ranch when you bought it.
No, but actually, I don't know who they let hunt over there. I think anybody that wanted to when they were not around.
Mm-hmm.
And Marty knows more about deer than you would ever believe, really and truthfully.
Yes, ma'am.
I've gone to every A&M thing that they've ever had. And one night I was telling them about a lick I put out at close to a little spring up in the hill country. And I said, man, everything came to it. And when we first got that place, we didn't have any hogs. There was not a feral hog there.
Mm-hmm.
But they came, and those hogs just tear that place up. I said, you dig a hole, and you put 1/3 salt, 1/3 sulfur, and 1/3 dirt from where you dug it out of the hole.
Mm-hmm.
Mix it up and put it back in there. And I'm telling you, they go crazy over those. They said, where did you learn that? I said at another Texas A&M. It was so funny. Texas A&M was sponsoring this, and they'd never heard
They didn't know that.
No, and I learned it in one of their seminars.
That's great.
Yeah, I'm on the. Well, I met so many people that Texas Tech, I was on their board out there for fishing, wildlife, and land. And you could only be on the board so many years, I think 3 or 4. Mm-hmm. And when my time was up, they gave me a great big dinner when I went up there. But every time I would go, it would rain. And they said, please come back more often. So anyway, I was home one day and my phone rang, and it was Dr. Fish. He was with the fisheries department, Dr.
Right,
Fish.
right.
And when I went up there, it was really funny because these people were working on their masters or doctorates, so that we were on their board, and so I was about 5 from telling who I was and where I came from and all. So when I got my turn, I say funny things a lot of times. I got that from my mother. And anyway, I told him, I said that I was from Corpus Christi, and I said I have 4 sons, and they all went to Texas A&M. Boo! You never heard Oh, the house is broke. Booze, booze, booze. And I said, excuse me, but do you know when I was invited to serve on this board, I asked my sons what they thought about it? And they said, go for it, Mom. That's up to you if you would like to do that. And here I am. And they okayed it. Well, after that was over, I had these young ladies came and they said, Miss Berry, when we grow up, we want to be just like you. I have people that's 70 telling me that. And I said, you may have changed your way of living.
That is fantastic.
But I enjoyed it. My phone rang one day after I had gotten off the board, and it was Dr. Fish. And he was so excited about something that was happening out there that he wanted to share it with me. He thought I was still on the board. He was managed the dinner. that was so funny to me. I said, Dr. Fish, you don't remember going to that dinner? Y'all gave me something. I said, and he was real quiet. He said, Laura, I'm sorry. I just forgot it. But that was it. That was a good board. I enjoyed, and they call me this week to serve on a board over at I think it was Orange Grove. That young man that lost both of his legs in the war. Mm-hmm. Now I offered him a home at least 8 years ago through Military Warrior Support Foundation. Mm-hmm. And he said, no, the people in Orange Grove want to do that for me.
Wow.
And so I told the man this week, I said, I'm 95 years old. I've had health problems last year. I am trying to get well. And I don't go on boards for the publicity. I'm going to work and do a good job, and I'm not able to do that right now. I'm too old. Mm-hmm. And I said, I'm going to take the time that I have to work for myself to get well.
As you should.
And I didn't feel guilty because I've been a giver all my life.
Sure, absolutely.
And I've always been involved with something. Mm. I never got paid for it, but I got a lot of praise.
Well, and a lot of satisfaction.
Yes.
I mean, how many homes have you been involved with through that military warriors?
Oh gosh, I'm these colonels and all these different people that so high up it's way beyond me. And they admire me, and I'm their hero. But when they come up and I see their guns, I said, are you shooting a little pee-willy gun like that at a South Texas white-tailed deer? You should be ashamed of yourself. And if you're looking after me in the war, I'm going to have to go look after you. I just give them a heck.
Just have fun with it.
Yeah, and they every one of them just love me.
That's good.
And it is amazing. It's not for the turkey hunt. Those men that are so shook up sometimes when they come up there, they're just a bundle of nerves. And by the second day, they start relaxing a little bit. Mm-hmm. And by the time they leave, the night before they leave, they have a little ceremony. And this one young man, he was the first one that was going to get up and talk. He just started crying, just sobbing. We're at the Lonesome Dove.
All right.
And he couldn't talk. So they went to the next one. When they all finished, he got up there. He had got his composure back. But you really see them change. They just got up there. And this one man, he was a big Mexican man. He was the only one that got a turkey year before last. And I was up there for that. I don't remember. And I said, are you going to eat your turkey? And he said, no, I'm going to have him mounted. I've got all of them except the one that's in New Mexico. I've forgotten the name of him. I've got the one of the four. I've got the Rio Grande.
The Rio and the Merriams and the
one from Florida is the place that's Osceola.
Yeah, Osceola. That's right.
I went down there, flew down there by myself. Marty picked me out a guide. He was an old man.
How long ago was this?
It's probably 10 or 12 years ago.
Okay.
And we were out there, and I had just got my cell phone. And I didn't even know how to turn the darn thing off. And my lady friend was calling me every 15 minutes, "Have you shot yet? Have you shot yet?" And I didn't know how to turn her off. I didn't know nothing about this darn thing I had. And he turns around and said, "Would you turn that damn thing off?" And I said, "Here it is. You turn it off. I don't know how. I just got it." He didn't know how either. And he had been calling, and about 3/4 of a mile from us, this giant turkey gobbler came out. And I mean, he was ready. He could hear that gobbler, and hear him in the talk. And this man was really good. And so finally, a nice turkey. He was big, they told me, at the taxidermist when I got him to Corpus. Mm-hmm. And I shot him, and he fell, and he said, "Shoot him again." I said, "I'm going to have this turkey mounted. I don't want to knock all of his feathers off. I don't want to go in that brush and have to look for him." I said, "Well, I think he's going to die," which he did.
Just give him
I wouldn't shoot him again. I wouldn't shoot him again. He got really mad at me. I didn't care. I was paying him. He wasn't paying me.
Yeah, that's a fact.
And so anyway, this was a funny thing. We went out to dinner that night, and I gave him his check. He lost that check. And he had to call me and tell me. I knew that just killed him because he wasn't a Superman hunter.
Right.
He was a little man that had lost his check.
He had to come crawling back.
I've had some interesting things, like that.
Right.
We had flown out to West Texas and drove out there, and we had that same couple from Colorado that were friends of ours. And we hadn't driven but about 30 minutes around the lower mountains, and they are looking the way the Jeep turns. We had just made a left, and they're looking that way. I'm looking around hunting. I'm hunting. Mm-hmm. And there's a deer right beside us, beside a Spanish tiger. And he was really a beautiful deer. I do have him mounted because he's the biggest deer that was put in the freezer up there that year.
Right.
And so I said, "Stop the Jeep, stop the Jeep." And I didn't rest on anything. I'm used to resting on something.
Right.
But I just shot him offhand, shot him one shot, and he dropped. Went over and picked up that end of my hunt. I'm not used to those. That is short hunts.
Right. Well, it sounds like you've done a few.
But some of the most interesting and the best times I have spent with myself has been in a deer blind. You never know what you're going to see. I've had bobcats come right up to my blind. I had a buck. I'd carried my little nephew hunting with me, and he's not a little guy. Now then, we're almost same age. He'll never catch up with me, but he is in worse shape than I'm in, and he's my nephew. And I turned around to say something to him, and this little buck is standing there just like this, listening out the window, standing right beside us.
Really?
And I said, "Mike, don't move. There's a buck right beside your window." And that's where I shot my first turkey. See, I can still remember all this stuff. Right. That's important stuff.
It's important stuff. That's right.
That's right.
You have to have priorities.
And And that blind, it was a horrible blind. There was a stump in it, and then you had room. You could put a chair, a folding chair, and I was on the stump, and he was on the folding chair. And these 4 turkey came by. This is my first turkey I killed, and I put that 22 up there, and I was shaking so bad, I just had to sit it down. No need to shoot anything. And I was so mad, and they went down this ravine and took a left. Well, after I'm looking out there, I hunt all the time. My eyes are so tired when I come in at night. And when I shot that big old deer this year, I was seeing double. Marty told me that was the deer down there, and I said, there's 2 deer there. He had been asleep, and I let him sleep because he never gets enough rest. And I get back around, and I look. He put me at the window where he thought he was going to come in. He didn't. He came in on his side. And I look again. I see two deer. They look a lot alike because I was seeing double.
Wow.
And my eyes were so tired. But anyway, I shot him with his gun. We waited. He was too close to shoot. So we let him get out there. And I said, can I shoot him now? Yeah, you can shoot him now. And I shot, good shot, Mom. And he's still running. Good shot, Mom. I said, it was such a darn good shot. Why doesn't he fall? And then he started going like this and like this. And then he hit the ground. He didn't even kick. He was dead.
Right.
and then I decided, yep, that was a good shot. But I'm used to them falling right there.
Right.
And not even kicking. When he was telling me that time, well, I made you wait because I saw your barrel shaking. I said, did you see that deer, the dead deer fall on the ground? They don't run away from me unless my scope is off. I've really learned to calm myself. And I did it because I had to shoot that deer out, a mule deer out in West Texas when that couple was with me. And I didn't want to embarrass my husband.
You're kidding me.
That was when I knew I was calm, and I shot that deer with one shot. And so then I knew it could be done.
Right.
I just didn't want to embarrass Marvin because he just loved. He just thought we loved each other right up to the day we died. He died.
Mm.
And these women come and tell me, I am so mad at so-and-so, their husbands. Mm. And I said, you better be glad. Maybe the day come that you won't have him here to enjoy the fact you've got a husband.
That's right.
And now I'm 95. I can tell anybody anything.
Isn't that the best part?
That is the best part. It's sure not your health. I hate it that somehow, you start discussing your health the first thing when you're old.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have other things. But most of the people in Corpus know I hunt, and they know I'm a hunter. And
yes,
I thought this was so funny. Somebody told me, have you read what they put on that telephone? This man said, well, you can tell by what she has on that she's not a hunter. Her husband probably killed that. And I said, golly, if Marvin can shoot a deer like that from heaven, no telling what I can do when I get up there. But that's just people that are jealous and don't know. They're not hunters. They're not a hunter.
That's exactly right.
And I just feel sorry for them that they've never had the joy that I've had.
I don't know if they're jealous of the deer or just the fact that.
No, it's because a woman shot that deer. You could tell about him. And look at her shoes. I had on loafers. I wore what I had worn to work. Why can't you shoot in what you wear to work?
That's right.
There's not a law that says, hey, you've got to put on I had me a cowboy shirt, beautiful cowboy shirt. But that woman took so long to do my hair today, I got a permanent, and she cut it, and she just kept and just driving me crazy because I knew Marty was waiting for me.
Right. So all your boys killed their first deer with you.
Uh-huh.
So thinking back over the years, do you have one memory, one trip that really sticks out in your mind that you did with your husband? And
Yes, and that was the one that not the whitetail deer, but mule deer, because he was with me.
mm-hmm.
I don't allow people to go with me.
Yeah, when you sit in the blind for whitetail, you're by yourself most of the
Right.
time.
And that was when I used his gun. I emptied my 30-06, and so I borrowed his 300, and that's when I had to have a 300 then.
Oh, right.
And I mean, they talk with sound, and they say they kick. I never feel a kick. I've never felt a kick.
Funny, when you shoot at an animal, you just don't feel it. Do you?
No, I am in another world, I guess.
Right.
And that some of the best times of my life been blind by myself, when you see different things.
That's what a hunter is.
Yes.
People, I mean, we all love killing a great big old deer, but some of your best hunts you don't. You may not even see a deer. I just look forward to what's going to happen. Right.
Because I know I'm going to be happy. And you know what? That comes from being happy with yourself. I think if a person is unhappy, they're going to try to make everybody feel just like them.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're happy, they're going to try to make everybody feel just like them.
That's exactly
And that's the way I look at it.
That's where your sense of humor comes from, too.
That's right. That's right. I said God had a great sense of humor. Just look around at the people he made.
Well, so do you have any trips to the ranch or any hunts coming up or anything? I know you're getting ready for something.
I'm getting ready for Mother's Day. I'm going to go up to the hill country, and we have a cemetery on the ranch.
Mm-hmm.
And Marvin and my son Dennis and Kevin, my grandson, are all buried in that. Kevin's wife would not answer her phone. She wouldn't talk to anybody. And I finally got a friend of mine that was seeing her to tell her that Kevin could be buried up there, wouldn't cost her nothing. And in San Antonio, I knew it cost a lot to go by. She would have bought a plot for the family.
Mm-hmm.
And so she called me, and I was glad I did, because now he's going to be they will be with the rest of us.
Oh, that's great.
And it's an old church. It's been there 100 and something years. It's got the plaque outside. And my granddaughter just got married up there, and her daddy got married the second time up there.
Wow. Mm. And you wouldn't have that ranch and all those memories if it wasn't for the hunting. That you bought it to go hunting.
That's right.
And you've spent your whole life going up there back and forth.
And my boys never got to play in any of the sports, because every weekend we were going to be working at the ranch. Mm-hmm. And they could. I was not a spoiled woman. I had babies. I had one of the shortest hunts in history. It was Marty had been born on the 17th of November. It opened on the 16th. And Marvin would do, I told people, Marvin Berry do anything to try to get my tabs to put on deer. So anyhow, I carried the newborn baby up there, and Marvin never changed a diaper. And you see these men now, man, they got that baby and they're going to change a diaper. Don't hold your breath till Mr. Berry did this, because you get asphyxiated. But anyhow, I had the little baby in a little bassinet over. We were new up there in the ranch, and I had a 50th birthday party for that ranch. and invited everybody that had ever helped us do one thing, and they were so thrilled. And in 5 years, we had lost so many of those people, I couldn't believe it. And I gave them a little leather luggage and put their Flying Bull Ranch on it. They were thrilled to death.
Right. Oh, that's great. That's great. So, there was a day early in your marriage when you decided you were just going to go hunt with your husband. You had never done it before. You didn't know what you were doing.
No, because a woman was not.
Right.
They had babies and cooked.
Right. Imagine how different your marriage and your entire life would have been if you hadn't made the decision to go hunt with him.
It'd been like a lot of women I know. Miserable. I was smarter than most people. My sister next to me, 2 years older than I, she was a pessimist. I was an optimist. And, I look back and see this. For instance, I'll have to tell you this funny story. Anytime we took turns, a week at a time, each girl had to wash the dishes. Every time it came Joanne's turn, I have a sick headache. I have a sick headache. She'd have to go. I'm telling you, she could vomit. And Mom and Daddy believed it. I never did. So after we were grown, and they had Elder, my older sister, and Joanne were living in Baytown, Texas, when I finished my accounting and got my degree in Dallas, I went to Baytown to live with them until I could find me a place to stay. And I went to work for the Studebaker Company in Goose Creek. There's Goose Creek, Pelly, and Baytown. And they are just right there together. And this is the funniest thing. Marvin had this dog, Molly. I couldn't think of her name the other day. I'm so proud.
You got it.
And old Molly was a hound dog. And Molly went everywhere we went. And she had her puppy. Where it's in Houston now, there was a forest there, and that's where Molly went to have her dogs out there in the forest, but her puppies. So my two sisters knew Molly. So my husband had gone to one of those fun shops and got a pile of dog manure. Had hair in it. I mean, it looked real. So I get it from him. And Joanne was always saying, I've got to ride in the front seat. I get car sick. And I put that poo-poo down in the floorboard. And I said, Elder, get in the front seat. Joanne always sits there. Joanne, it's your turn for the back seat. She opens the door and starts to get in. And she starts going, ugh! I said, what is wrong with you? Look what's in the back seat. Oh, it smells horrible. Now, this has no odor whatsoever. So I go over there. I said, oh, I guess Marvin left Dolly in the car. And I just reach in and I got this. And I said, you want to smell this? This is not real. I said, I knew all these years you've been fooling everybody but me. And she had. She fooled everybody but me.
Siblings.
Yes, but it had to be grown. Was it in our 20s?
That's great.
Gosh. But she just knew she was going to die with cancer. She did. But smoked those cigarettes. I offered her money. I offered her everything because I knew what was going to happen to her.
Mm-hmm.
Both my sisters died with cancer from smoking.
That's too bad.
I never smoked, and I never smoked a cigarette because I tried to smoke one.
Didn't work.
Didn't have any luck. So I knew it wasn't meant for me to be a smoker.
Right. That is great.
But I've had a very good life. I really have.
It sure sounds like it.
I have. I don't. You could put Joanne and I in a room together, and I've always said in a round circle, and you could put some horse manure in here, and she'd be saying, "Well, the horse is gone. I know he's not gone. He's here somewhere. Let's keep looking for him." I said, "That just how different we were."
Right. Right. Any more hunting stories you can think
No,
of?
but I've got the funniest joke to tell you.
Oh, I want to hear this.
Well, this little boy, he was around 6 or 8. He could read, and he was driving his mother crazy. She was in the kitchen trying to cook. She said, "Go up to your room till you can behave like a normal human being." So he didn't go to his room, he went to her room. He came back down the stairs and he said, "I know how old you are." She said, "How old am I?" "You're 28. She said, "That's right. I sure am." So he disappears again. He comes back. "I know how tall you are. You're 5'5". "I sure am." He disappears again. He came back. "Well, what you up to now?" He said, "I know why you and Daddy got a divorce." She said, "Well, what do you know?" He said, "You made an F on sex." Isn't that the cutest joke?
I can't believe I've never heard that. That is
I heard
excellent.
that on television about 25 years ago, and I've never forgotten it. I thought that was one of the cutest jokes that you can tell anybody.
I will never forget that one.
Isn't that cute?
That's
You
classic.
made an F on sex. I could just see a little kid being smart.
Right, right.
Got her driver's license out of her purse.
That is fantastic. You got an F.
Now, wasn't that a cute joke?
That is excellent.
I don't think that one should be canceled.
Absolutely not. No, that one's flying through. So, you have anything to say to young people they need to know about hunting or about life?
Well, I think it'd be I just think hunting, not necessarily whitetail deer, that is one of my favorites, but dove hunting is my favorite sport.
Oh, yeah.
I just love dove hunting. But I think any kind of good sport, number one, I'm a great believer. NRA furnishes education for young people that they can get all the education they need in learning the safety of guns, and then we wouldn't have the accidents we have. And I joined the NRA for every grandchild I had, and we had a little ceremony because I thought that was one of the most important things in the world, because I lost a nephew that was in a tractor, and a jackrabbit jumped up, and he had his shotgun, double barrel shotgun, and he shot the rabbit, didn't kill it, and he got out and turned it around and hit him with a stock and shot him and killed himself.
Oh,
So that's how important I think it is, because it may never affect you, but it might.
that's right.
And Marvin and I were driving in from East Texas when we heard that on the news out of Houston, Texas.
Really? Wow.
And it was our nephew.
I guess there were no cell phones, so you heard it on the news.
That was you just can't believe how you're affected when you're there playing with music, and then they interfere with the music, and it's somebody you know.
Yeah, that's terrible.
That was, I had gone to Victoria and stayed with my brother and his wife about 2 or 3 years ago, and we had the news that we'd gotten up and had a cup of coffee and went in and was looking at the news, and they said, they called this man's name, and I knew that Marty had a friend by that name, and they were on their way to Houston and killed he, his wife, his wife's mother, his wife's sister, and they were going for him to have, I think, surgery. And he used to be a race car driver.
Wow.
And he owned an American Steel Company. You may have known him.
Neil
Marty would remember his
Neil
name.
Ward.
Neil Ward.
Yes.
And I called Marty and I said, Marty, I think Neil Ward has been killed. I said, they didn't say he was from Corpus, but I'm in Victoria. And they were headed to Houston. And he said, I'll check. And he called me back. What he did is call the police department. And they were in contact. They already knew it.
Wow. That's sad. You know, going back to the gun safety and young people, I also believe that, you know, understanding gun safety might save your own life or someone else's.
Right.
But the responsibility and the maturity that comes with it stays with you through life in all facets
Absolutely.
of life.
Yes.
Whether you're around a gun or not, understanding that responsibility and handling it in a mature manner helps you in all areas of life.
It sure does.
And you were talking earlier about how your shotgun when you were a child was leaning behind the door, that it was your father's, and it was loaded, and you all knew it.
Yeah.
And you were told not to touch it, and you did. And that's the kind of people
my
that
daddy
you
was about 6'1", I guess, and he had great big old blue eyes, and they could be like ice. We were scared to death when he said, "You'll just be sorry, but you'll get the whipping of your life." We thought he would kill us.
Sure.
Those big old blue eyes, they were like icicles.
Right.
When he was talking serious like that.
Mm-hmm.
We never crossed him. We didn't want to see. We didn't want to see what he could do to us.
Right. You didn't need a second chance because you weren't going to do it once. Well, you were very fortunate to grow up that way, even though you grew up in very hard times. Like you said, you didn't know it.
Do you know everybody had hard times then?
That's right.
And I didn't even. I had no idea this. The Depression, I heard of it all my life. I knew it was a bad thing, when I was a little girl. And I can remember going to my Aunt Ethel's house, and I was born in a house within about probably 200 yards of her house, but I never knew it. But our house burned down. Somebody had built a big fire in the fireplace and probably popped a coal out. My mother had gone over to Aunt Ethel's house, and when my daddy heard the news from town, so he comes home as soon as he heard it, and I'm running down the road with my clothes on fire. I don't even remember a thing about it.
Really?
I was less than 2 years old.
Wow, that's amazing.
Isn't that something?
That is something. So you had 9 lives and didn't even know it.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
You're a survivor.
I'm a survivor. I can remember at her house, Marvin never could get over it. They had my uncle's name was Obie, and Uncle Obie had all these dogs, and he was a fox hunter. And my daddy was a fox hunter, and he had some great animals that was good. And there was a forest, St. Augustine Forest, National Forest, right beside our house. Mm-hmm. And I grew up that you could go pick huckleberries out in that forest. Mm-hmm. And it was a mysterious thing to me. But Daddy, when they would have those fox hunt, if the dogs treat a fox pretty close to the house, he would come and get us. Oh. And you didn't have a big old spotlight. You had a little old bitty flashlight, maybe one little old bitty beam. You had lanterns. Mm-hmm. And every man knew his dog's voice. Every man could tell you. And one was one that treed. The other man might have one that just ran, and kept up with the animal. And if he got tired, he climbed up there in a tree and tried to hide. But you could take that little flashlight and you could find him. And
Right.
my daddy would come and get us and go show us. And people would tell me when I said, my daddy was a fox hunter. And he really enjoyed. First time I ever saw my daddy cry was when his dog Buck. They had sawed down a tree close to our barn, and Buck was asleep out there, and you couldn't see him, and the tree killed him. That's the first time I ever saw my daddy cry.
Wow.
And see things like that. This old oak tree, it was huge, and they had a great big old tire tied to a tree. That was our swing. And then they had a T model that was Daddy and Mama's car for a long time. And when it died, he just parked it under that tree. We drove miles in that car with it just sitting there. Gosh.
That's great.
But those are good memories.
Absolutely. That is a fact. Well, you've lived a full 95 years with no telling how many more to go.
Yep. I was getting concerned. Now, see, I've really enjoyed this because I've been here talking.
If you didn't have hunting after you lost Mr. Berry, you probably would have gone crazy.
Yep. Well, I thought I was going to go in 2 years. I'd lost so much weight. He would not let me have one soul to come in and help me. I did. I ruined my back. I had to have back surgery just as soon as he passed away. I went to Houston and had back surgery. And because I lifted that man, and he was heavy. He wasn't heavy when he passed away, but he was heavy when he first got sick. To back up the people that had ALS, I started a
foundation?
No, it was already a foundation. But in Corpus, I started a group, and we held the meetings over there at our office. Mm-hmm. We put handicap things under every door. And I'll never forget this man. He came in, and they were such a handsome couple, and he had just retired from the service. And the night they showed up, I went over and I told her, if there's anything y'all want to do, it's only going to get worse. Don't fool yourself. It's not going to get better. It's going to get worse. And if there's anything you wanted to do, go do it now while you're able. And she thanked me so many times before he passed away.
Well, it's good that you shared that experience so that she knew what was coming.
Right. Because your hope is, and they're not any better off right now than they were 26 years ago. It is they'll find the reasons for a lot of I don't think cancer will be one of them, but some of the other diseases
sure
that they get will be settled. When they rule out all the other diseases, it only leaves one thing, and it is hard to diagnose. I diagnosed my husband.
Really?
Yes. I'm smarter than the doctors in Corpus. That's not saying much.
Yeah.
Because they give you a poison.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
But anyway, my first boyfriend after I graduated, I didn't tell this. My daddy was very strict. We girls had our first date after we graduated from high school. And Marvin said, "Oh, your daddy was just saving you for me." That's the way he thought about it.
He was your first boyfriend.
He was, yeah. I went dancing. I went with lots of dancers, but I didn't. They were not somebody I fell in love with.
Right.
They were more my age. Marvin was 8 years older than I, and he was a man. Mm-hmm. And when I first left home, I was a girl, and I dated boys. I didn't date men.
Right.
And he was a man.
Till you found yours.
Yep. And really, Dancing didn't mean that much. My happiness and his did.
Right.
And I knew how happy he would be if I just forgot about dancing. But my mama and daddy danced. They used to give dances at our house when I was a little girl. I can remember my daddy picking me up in his arms and dancing with me.
Right.
That is some of the really happy memories I have.
Right. But you traded the dance floor for a shotgun.
Yeah.
And never looked back.
And never looked. Boy, well, really, hunting is exciting. You can't get any more exciting than hunting. And no matter where you go, it's not going to be the same.
Mm-hmm.
And going out there and just watching all these different animals out in the wild.
Even in the same place, it's different every day.
Right. But a lot of, just like those turkey, I learned those turkey up there in the hill country, they'd go the same place. And I came in with 2 turkey gobblers. This was the funniest thing. I was in a Jeep, and I was driving down the road, and I caught up with a band of turkeys. And like I say, that turkey didn't know that was a 22 I was shooting. I did. And I shot one, and he ran on this brush heap of timber, of cedar trees.
Cedar.
No. And I knew he was dead, and then I shot another one. I think you were allowed 2 or 3. And it was so funny. I went to East Texas to get me eastern turkey.
Mm-hmm.
They had been planted up there in the forest. Well, I called my brother. He was alive then, and they got me a place. And this man shows up, and he has just bought this little tent, that zips, it sets up, cut all these trees and laid them against it in their camo. And I got over there, and I thought, I'm in a forest. I don't know the name of it, but I bought it. I got tired of going to my brother's and sleeping on a sofa that was out of style 21 years ago and miserable. So I had an opportunity of buying the place next door to them, and I bought it, and I still own it. I'm trying to find somebody. Lawrence, my son, said he was interested in it, but I gave, I think, $60-something thousand for 2 acres right next to a forest on one side and at the back. And they have turkey there, and I was hunting in that forest. Well, I forgot my turkey call, and I'm burp, 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 burp. I can call them right up to
That's
me.
good.
and I thought, God, I'm looking down, it's a logging road. And I'm looking down that road, and it's grass growing up. I thought, there is 2 wetbacks coming down that road. And it was 2 turkey gobblers. They were giants, and they were just red. I thought they had on red bandanas. And when I realized they were turkey, I unzipped the little thing in the tent, put my shotgun. I had my 12 gauge, and I killed that turkey. I didn't knock a feather off of him. I never could find where I shot him, but he just dropped dead. The other one was maybe where that camera is over there, away from him. And he jumped one time, just exactly like those 4 did, my first turkey I killed. They jump, and they get here, and they start flying. And my husband said, you had 4 turkey, and you didn't get but 1? I said, okay, buddy, we're going to have a little contest. I'm going to take you over and put you where about 30 turkeys come. And I carried him over there, and sure enough, they showed up. And I had the 22. He had a big old shotgun, a 12 gauge. I said, meet Hunter. I said, I'm going to take you over here. I'm going to see how many you get. He came in. He had 1 turkey. I said, that was the damnedest thing I ever saw in my life. He said, I shot that one, Jeff. showed that turkey. And he said, every one of them had disappeared. They made that jump and had taken off and was out of sight. I said, don't be criticizing your wife. I only had 4 and I got 1. Mine is better than yours. He had a whole group.
That is so awesome. That is just great. Well, thank you so much for your time today. This has been so fun for me. It really has. And you were saying before we started that you might not remember some things, but you remembered everything that you wanted to remember.
It has to do with hunting. I can pretty well remember it. That is what's so funny.
Yeah, but you remember your hunting stories. That is just amazing. You know, my grandfather had a tumor on his brain and had surgery and never recovered. He lived for 3 years just as a vegetable. And he had always had Hispanic workers in South Texas. And so he knew real good Spanish. And do you know that after his brain surgery, he didn't know a lick of English, but he spoke perfect Spanish from that day forward? I mean,
they removed from his brain that section that had that memory.
I guess. But he spoke perfect Spanish, not a lick of English. And so all of us as kids, we already knew a little bit of Spanish because, you know, we're South Texas kids, but we all had to get a whole lot better at it because that's all he could.
Little twin granddaughters of mine up in Houston. Mm-hmm. I'll say this, when they were babies, they never ate a meal that they didn't have a television speaking Spanish when they were eating their meal. Mm-hmm. Perfect Spanish.
They're little sponges.
And those, every nanny spoke the same kind of, they didn't speak Tex-Mex.
Right.
And those little girls speak perfect Castilian Spanish.
Good for them.
I moved to the hill country when COVID first started.
Right.
And man, I had a ball. And Danielle and the 2 twins stayed up there with me also. I take those twins hunting. And by the time I take them hunting, their sister, by Lawrence's first marriage, they don't care about going out there by themselves. They want to go with me.
Sure, you're fun.
But you know what? I won't let them shoot a big deer right now when they're first starting out. Just don't do that.
Yeah.
Because
it'll build
will do something to them. They'll think there's nothing to it.
Right. Right.
And I want them to know there is something to hunting.
That's smart. That is very smart because you're right about that. Need to work for it a little bit.
Yeah.
Put in some time.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Well,
what do you think? You think Marty's out there asleep?
Yeah, he's pacing. I've seen him walk past several times in the last little bit.
Well, he could come in.
Yeah, I know.
We'd enjoy visiting with him.
That's right. That's right. Some of the best times I've had in my life have been with that man. I go to Mexico with him every year. We hunt mule deer together, and
Now I know that where your name, but I've been trying to figure out where I knew your name.
That's it.
Well, I'll be darned.
I have more fun with Marty. You know, he doesn't get to relax around here very much.
He's
just
always
a lot going
busy.
on. But we go down to Mexico, and he relaxes, and we have the best time.
I went with he and Cliff. Marty.
Oh, Bradshaw. Clifton Bradshaw.
Clifton Bradshaw was a nervous wreck. He invited me to go with him to Mexico to go hunting, and then he didn't know what he had done. He didn't know me. He didn't know me at all.
Right.
So when we started back, he said, "Marty, next year I'm not going to invite you. I'm just going to invite Miss Berry."
That sounds like Clifton.
And that was an interesting thing. We stayed in a adobe, I guess it was a barn. And they built a big old bonfire outside and then got the coals and put in buckets. Mm-hmm. My gosh, warm, just like you had
central heat,
heating in your house, I'm telling you. And they did it on purpose. They told me they were giving me the only guy that could speak English. and that darn Mexican didn't know a word of English. So we're out there, and there's a coyote, and they never saw people. I couldn't believe that darn coyote sitting there like this and looking at us, and that we had stopped. And I asked my Mexican guide back there, I said, do you have ammunition in this gun? See? He knew to say see.
Right.
Boy, I get there and I kill that darn coyote. Click. I said, I knew then I can't believe you told me that you hadn't put anything in this gun. I did. I mean, I just chewed him out because he didn't know a word I was saying anyway. They couldn't believe. Every deer I saw they had big antlers, but no width. Beautiful deer.
Interesting.
But I was looking for one with a big spread.
That's why you go to Mexico to get those wide
Right.
ones. That's right.
And I didn't shoot a deer. I don't have to shoot a deer to have a good time. I had the best time out there with them.
Oh, yeah.
And they had to, in this one pasture, they had to haul water to the deer. And those deer, they had waited, I think, a couple of days instead of bringing them water. They wanted to fight you. Man, I was just glad they had a door on that thing, and that deer didn't know how to unlatch it. They would follow you. They would follow you. They wanted to whip you.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
And he hunted down there either this year or last year someday. And I was looking across the street at the fence. They had these cattle. Had an arrow bee on it, my arrow. And I had sold Mr. Singer, who used to have Pontiac Refining Company in Corpus. I had sold him. I sold him 100 head of cattle.
And they were there?
He had sold part of those heifers to somebody in Mexico. Yes, to go over there and find your own cows.
That's amazing.
That was...
Wow, that's amazing.
That shocked me to death.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm really appreciative of your time today. I have been wanting to sit down and visit with you for a good while.
You didn't know how much fun it was going to be.
I knew. I've heard you tell stories before, and I knew, and I've been friends with that son of yours for a long time, and I know where he got his sense of humor and his energy from.
He drives me crazy sometimes.
So, folks, as you can tell, her stories will go on for days, and we may be here for days because I would love to sit through more of this. But thank you for joining today, and you've gotten to listen to a real legend in Mrs. Laura Berry today. And I hope we all get to see her at Muy Grande next year to see that next buck that you take in to get scored.
I don't know if I'm going to be that lucky or not.
Oh, you are, and I'll be there.
Really, really, truthfully, I'm still going after the one that's my deer. The last ones have really been different.
Right. I like them with some character too. They just have a little different look to them.
I've got the other two, and I'm tired of those. And I called him and said, I gave him my credit card number. He said, I'm going to get a trophy. It's going to be unique. And they said, Laura Berry's unique. So and so.